KalebJohnson, 6 foot 225 out of Iowa. He's a guy that I'd like, but I'm not dead high on. I guess I put him at about a 0. He strikes me as kind of meat and potatoes. I like his patience and vision, good contact balance, sort of plus level speed, but he's nothing elite about it. Sets his blocks up well, but he kind of strikes me as kind of a Brian Robinson kind of type. Sort of a big bodied, not a power. I wouldn't put him as a power back. I don't know. I don't know where I'd put him. Nothing wowed me about him. I get why teams would be really wanting a guy like this, but he's not for me. He's not my back.
I tell you what, Dave, I was exactly the same. And I think part of it for me was I feel like this guy's capable of violence, but just didn't really show it. And,
Yeah.
whereas we're saying Scatterboo needs to kind of calm it down a little bit in terms of his chaos and whatnot, I'd just like to see a little bit more edge from KalebJohnson. As I say, he looks huge. He looks bigger than 6 foot, which is, he's down to 6 foot, but he looks bigger than that. And I'm going to say he's got nice acceleration for a bigger back as well. His production's absolutely fine. I think he's had some great production this year, over 1,500 yards as well. Just
sixth in the nation for yards and fourth in the nation for yards per attempt.
Exactly, yeah, really, really good production this year, and has some very nice footwork in there as well. I think he can jink and jive with the best of them. Particularly good at getting outside to gain extra yardage as well. Saw lots of examples on that on tape. The first touchdown, I don't know if you saw the Minnesota tape. That was a beauty in showing all of his strengths, incredible footwork and contact balance and whatnot. It was just a really, really nice. But yeah, I just want to see more edge on him, and I want to see a bit more violence from him. Like, he can break tackles, but he doesn't look like he's pushing for the extra yardage. And I don't know, his pass protection, I think, needs some solid work. So yeah, I'm a 0 as well. But I think there's definite upside to him, and the production's there.
Yeah.
I think he's better than that. What I really like about him is his vision. There's a few backs that I watched that their vision just stands out, and he's one of them. He doesn't have the top end speed, not super creative in the open field, but he hits the hole fast. And I just think the guy with his size and the way he runs, I just think he's a pretty good back. I heard some comps to Najee while researching this guy. I think Najee probably stood out a little more on tape. I think he was a little more explosive on tape than this guy. But I think this guy's a pretty good back. I think he has all the qualities, really, with the exception of the high-end speed. I value that too. I like top-end speed in our running back, and he doesn't have that. He's a 4.5, which isn't horrible. It's not slow, but it's just not elite. I think with the size he has and with his vision, I think he can be a really good back. I agree with Mark. He does need work on his pass protection. It's not really that great. He's a decent receiver out of the backfield, but I could see, for those offenses that, like Denver and that like to run, have a committee running back situation. I think he could be good in that type of atmosphere.
Yeah, I in fact, at the bottom of my notes, I was thinking if he'd be preferable in a kind of 1-2 Gibbs Montgomery style sort of run attack. Like, he could be one of those guys. I don't necessarily see him as a 3-down all out back, but put him in a committee backfield, and I think he could thrive.
Yeah, I think in college he was like a tough inside runner with explosive burst, but and that led to breakaways with his explosion and his sort of tackle breaking toughness combined with his vision. That meant he was very productive. Whether he's as because he was second in the nation in breakaways, right? 861 yards. So he had a lot of like long runs, but I don't think that will translate quite as well, where the opposition is bigger and tougher and can stop him breaking through those tackles. Because he's not that elusive, but he does look nice. He hasn't got elite jukery or anything, but he does. Again, like Hampton, he takes nice angles and can get extra yards just through sort of stemming his run a tiny bit and just getting a few extra yards here and there. But he's not like a one-cut guy. He's not like a guy that's going to make a savage cut and put everyone in the dirt. That's just not him.
Well, with that vision gap, could you see him in like an inside zone scheme? I could see him thriving as something like that.
Absolutely. I've got here. I think he profiles as a volume early down back in a gap scheme, like the Steelers, right? I mean, he would be a perfect fit, I think, for that early down role.
Yeah.
I think he's a pounder. And I do like the way he's. Some backs really make themselves available to the quarterback when they're a check down. I like how he does that. He sort of gets open out on the wheel or the flat, he's just. I think he's a quarterback's friend in the receiving game. I don't think he saw much action in the receiving game. I think that's more of a scheme thing, maybe. But I reckon that's something he could work on and just be a sort of reliable release valve as well. Because once he gets the ball and turns upfield, he's tough to challenge. So you can see him getting a few yards that way. But yeah, there's definitely he's not the most exciting guy to watch, and I think that's why people are dinging him here a little bit. But I think Brian Robinson's not a bad comp actually. That's pretty good because we saw him at certain points in the season. He was pretty solid back, wasn't he? I think people were expecting Eckler to take over that job, and he absolutely he was their number one. Kets, what am I? I'm a 1, by the way. I like him.
I'm a 1.
You're a 1 as well, Rich.
Mm-hmm.
And Kets, what do you think of Kaleb over here?
So I'm at value for him. I think he's similar to what you guys have said, really. Workhorse battering ram type, but I think he's got scheme limitation potentially. I think he's a kind of rising tide kind of running back. And what I mean by that is he will be as good or as bad as the O-line in front of him. I think if you struggle to generate holes, I don't think he'll have the ability to kind of necessarily break through the line. I think he sometimes struggles to get to the line of scrimmage if the blocking isn't there, let alone beyond it. If you give him gaps, then yes, in terms of an inside run scheme, I think he'd be perfect for that. It's kind of weird because he seems to get like 2 to 3 touchdowns per game, but equally I kind of had this reservation that I think he could struggle against a really good NFL run defense. So yeah, I'm really kind of torn on this guy. I think you guys have summed it up really nicely. He's good in the receiving game. Quite good wiggle for a 225-pound man. And he's got enough kind of an NFL toolkit. But yeah, like when it doesn't work, like the Ohio State game, it just really doesn't work. I think put him in a power run scheme with a successful interior O-line, generate him gaps first and second down. I can't really project him into anything other than that. I think he's quite limited. If you had a different kind of blocking scheme or more of an outside run scheme, I don't think it'd work with him. So, yeah, at value for me.
Okay, yeah. 0.
2 things probably that are in his favour, to be fair. He'll have only just turned 22 when the season starts, so that's good in terms of his age. And 0 fumbles this year. So, I mean, yeah, you can't sniff at that ball security. But is that just because he didn't have the edge and the violence to go? Production-wise, that's great, but I don't know if that leads to if that kind of hints at something else. But I was 0 as well. I didn't know if you got mine.
Yeah, I got yours. He does. He's got a little bit of an upright style, doesn't he, as well? But he does get skinny through the gap when he needs to. But yeah, that's another risk that you worry that he's maybe not shielding the ball from punch outs and stuff that he's going to have to if he is an inside runner. But that's coachable.
Yeah.